Before the internet, before phones, even before instant news, there were people who could send messages across the ocean in minutes, using nothing but sound, and for decades the entire world depended on them. Today, almost nobody even knows they existed. Picture this. It's the early 1800s. You want to send a message from Europe to America. How long does it take? Weeks, maybe longer. Your message travels by ship. It can get lost, delayed, or never arrive at all. Now fast forward just a few decades, and suddenly that same message arrives in minutes. That wasn't magic. That was the telegraph. The electric telegraph was developed in the 1830s, most famously by Samuel Morse. His system turned language into electrical signals, dots and dashes, what we now call Morse code. At first it connected cities, then entire countries. And in 1866, something unbelievable happened. A cable was successfully laid across the Atlantic Ocean, connecting London and New York City. For the first time in history, continents could talk to each other almost instantly. But here's the part most people don't realize. None of this worked without humans. Highly trained specialists called telegraphists. A telegraphist's job was simple in theory, but incredibly hard in practice. They would sit at a machine and tap out messages in Morse code, using precise rhythms of dots and dashes. On the other end, another operator would listen to those signals and translate them back into words. And the best operators? They didn't even think in letters anymore. They recognized entire words just by sound, like understanding a language purely by rhythm. And the pressure was real. These weren't casual messages. Telegraphists controlled train movements, preventing deadly collisions. They transmitted breaking news to newspapers. They handled military communication during wars like the American Civil War. One mistake, one misread signal, could have serious consequences. This wasn't just a job. It was responsibility at a global scale. By the late 1800s, telegraphists were everywhere. Railway stations, government offices, newsrooms, remote outposts. And it was one of the first tech jobs in history. You didn't need a university degree, but you needed skill, and that skill paid off. A typical telegraphist in the late 19th century earned about $40 to $75 per month. That might not sound like much, but adjusted for today, that's roughly $1,300 to $2,500 per month. Solid middle-class income, stable, respected, in demand. For many young people, it was a way into a modern, technical career. So how does a job like that just disappear? Not all at once. At first, nothing seemed to threaten it. Then, in 1876, Alexander Graham Bell introduced the telephone, and suddenly you didn't need code anymore, you could just talk. At first, telegraphs still dominated. Phones were expensive, limited, and unreliable, but over time that changed. Telephone networks expanded, then came radio communication, then fax machines, and eventually, the internet. Each new technology made one thing clear: you no longer needed a middleman, no operator, no translation, no waiting, just direct, instant communication. By the mid-20th century, telegraphists were already fading. Offices closed, jobs disappeared, machines replaced people, and then came the final moment. In 2006, Western Union, once the largest telegraph company in the world, sent its last telegram. After more than 150 years, it was over. And here's the irony. The telegraph didn't just disappear. It laid the foundation for everything that replaced it. Every text message, every email, every notification on your phone, all of it traces back to one idea: turning human language into electrical signals. That was the telegraphist's world. Today, Morse code still exists in small communities, radio enthusiasts, niche military uses, but the profession itself is gone, completely. A job that once connected the entire planet, erased by progress. If you want more stories about jobs that history left behind, subscribe to Dead Jobs Explained. See you soon.